Welcome back. And we wish to thank donesi.com for the lunch from this break. So, moving along. We all know that social is growing, and there are more and more platforms, new platforms coming up, and old platforms evolving. And of course, there are more and more metrics which you need to follow. So how do you deal with all these metrics? How do you follow them? How do you make your campaigns work? We have Ljiljana Pavlovicova, Senior Sales Director for Central Eastern Europe and Turkey from Social Bakers, who will tell us. Ljiljana?
Wow. Thank you, Relja. Yeah, we will be speaking how to optimize social marketing performance, or more to say, we're going to have a look how much you guys are actually really unlocking the full potential of social and making the most out of it. We are all after lunch. You might probably feel a little bit sleepy. That's why I decided to open my presentation with a bit difficult and direct question, which might help your digestion, specifically once you hear the answer. So what do you guys think? How much budget are actually getting wasted on social? Any guess? Is it 5%, 10%, 20%, maybe even 30%? Who said 50? Okay, so let's have a look at it, okay? This is a very difficult thing to find out, but because at Social Bakers, we look at the data very seriously, and thanks to 10 billion content pieces that we have in our database, and thanks to 9 million of profiles that we monitor, and 40 million of content pieces coming to us every month, we have actually figured out how much it is. So, put your belts on. It's 44%. Amazing figure. 44% out of budget are getting wasted on social. So I guess each of you, because when I first saw this figure, my kind of logical question was, why? Why is that? Why is this happening? We all know that the content is a king. It's so much activities around the content and creating a good content. So how comes that 44% of the money for the advertising is actually simply thrown out the window by brands? So the answer to that is very simple. Because the success, it's not only about having a great content. Yes, content is very important, but if you want to be successful and you want your success guaranteed, then you have to take the whole content workflow right. So you want to get right all these 4 steps that you have. And as you can see, the creation of content is actually just one and first step in this. So once you have created this content, comes the timing, because it's crucial for you to know what is the best time to have some sort of a prediction when your audience is there, when they are active, so that you make the most out of your great content which you have created and post it at the right time. And the next and the third step is a promotion. So once this piece of content, which is actually posted at the right timing, had a bit of an organic performance and has performed well, this is the moment when you want to put some money behind it. And eventually, at the end, you want to track those results. You want to track the results so that you can actually articulate them very understandably and easily to your key stakeholders within the organization. And just before I deep dive into this a little bit more, let's just have a quick overview on how social was evolving over the time, how big social actually is, how big is the global ad spend, what's the evolution of the metrics, and so on. So no secret that social is a big business. We all know that, and these are just some figures to support it. We can see that from 2013 all the way to what is predicted in 2017, how much marketers are spending on social globally is going to triple. So pretty significant amount of money there on social. Facebook being the biggest social platform with 1.5 billion monthly users, again, comes as a no surprise that this is the platform where brands are spending the most of their money, but they are actually spending more than ever. So why is that? We have seen now that the ad spend is getting bigger and bigger. It's growing, and this is something which is not going to go away. But also the number of the platforms which are available for you, marketers, is also growing. And this is another challenge for you, because you need to sit down and think wisely, where do I put my chips? What is the platform that I should be present at? And this is actually one of the common questions that our clients come to us and ask. What do we do? Where should we be there? Everybody is on the Facebook. Okay, so 1.5 billion monthly users, understandable that marketers are spending the majority of their money there. But what you need to do is to sit down and think wisely. Are you going to go just for the size of the platform itself? Because what we recommend is actually to sit down and think, what are my business objectives? What is it that I'm trying to achieve with social, being present on social? And the most important thing, where your audience is. What is the audience that you want to target? And based on that, decide which platform is good for you and create the content which is going to be good for that type of the platform. So, ad spend is getting bigger. There is wide variety of platforms there. So naturally, metrics are also evolving, because how we're going to measure our success is through different kind of metrics. And many of you will probably remember when social was starting, when there were only likes, comments, and shares. But as we can clearly see, the number of the metrics is also increasing through the clicks, video views, to today's Facebook reactions and predictive analytics. So that brings the second challenge, brings a new challenge. What metric I should look at? What metric is the metric that matters for my business goals? How do I make sense out of all these metrics? And just out of curiosity, if we look at the 4 biggest platforms there, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, for example, do you have any idea how many metrics in total are there? 100, 500, 1,000? Where is the person who said 50%? Okay, so if you look just at these 4 platforms themselves, 2,000 plus metrics in total. So quite significant number of metrics to follow. And in Social Bakers, we say that every metric does matter, and it really does. But you cannot look at all of them. You need to wisely choose the metrics which make sense to your business. Otherwise, you're going to be just finding yourself swimming in the sea of metrics, not knowing whether you're swimming in the right direction at all. And let's give the example of you being marketer who went to be present on social, and this is where you're investing your money. So you might think, okay, I'm on a Facebook, I'm secured. My success is secured, it's the biggest platform. But what you should really ask yourself now is, do you understand those metrics? Do you understand what these, 1,000 likes really mean for you? What do they mean for your business, for your bottom line? Or if we take the example of reactions, Facebook reactions. If you got this post and you have like 1,000 likes on it, out of that 500 is love, 300 is happy, 20 is sad. Do you really know What does this mean? And this is what our clients also are coming with us. So it's great that you can have so many metrics and so many data at your fingertips at any time, but this is really useless if you do not know how to make the sense out of it, if you do not understand them, if you do not help yourself with understanding and tracking those metrics. And this is a moment where we always suggest that you reach out for solid analytics partner who can help you with that. So speaking of the metrics, no matter which metric you are actually tracking, they are pretty much triggered, they are based on interactions. And every interaction is triggered by content. So that's why we say that the content is currency of social media, because in reality, content is what makes world of social actually turn. And this was very interesting for us in Social Bakers, so we decided to dig in a little bit deeper into the content itself, because that number of 44% was doing our head in, and we wanted to find out why is it so? What is the reason behind it? So what we have found out is that actually this 44% of budget gets wasted thanks to promoting a bad content. Believe it or not, just because promoting a bad content predominantly. So what we have found out naturally is that there is that not all pieces of content are created equally, that there is bad content and a good content. So we took our data set and our data scientists to work on this and find out, or more to say, define what is bad and what is good content. Because what we really wanted to do is to find out how we can actually help you, marketers, to invest more wisely, to make more wise use of your promotion budgets. And this is what we have found out. So we made a very simple definition of what a good content is. And simply good content is the content which is performing well organically, which is basically getting these interactions and response from your audience that content creators were actually hoping for when they were creating it. And bad content is quite opposite from that. So this was not enough for us. So we wanted to take this even a step further. And we have graded all pieces of content into the 5 grades. So as you can see, there is A+, A, B, C, and D, and only D is actually bad content. So content that you do not want to put your money behind. A+ is the content that is performing organically, better than any other post. A, it's top 10% of posts. B is top 25, and C is the content which was performing better than 50% of other posts. And anything below that is actually D. So we wanted also to have a closer look into social advertising strategies and to see what's happening there. And what we have found out there, as you can see, was really shocking. Maybe not that shocking as those 44% of budgets thrown out of the window, but this is also quite alarming number, I would say. So we found out that 35% of content is not promoted at all. 35%. This was shocking, but we decided to see, okay, so what's happening with these 65% of promoted content, because those 44% are coming from there. So we took it a step further and investigated a little bit what is happening there and where brands are getting it wrong. So we divided the promoted content into 3 categories. The first one was those who promoted almost everything, so basically flying blind and hoping that some good performance will happen, because we also wanted to have a look, and I don't know what is this, what kind of impact promoting a certain type of the content has on the performance of it. And in the middle are those ones who got it right, and they were promoting 75% of their content, and all that content was a good one. And the third category were those ones who got it completely wrong, and they were promoting the bad content. So you can see quite significant difference in performance, that both had quite lower performance than the guys in the middle. So logically, bad content is not what you want to put your money behind, because it's costing brands money and engagement. So let's have a look, actually, what is that cost when you're promoting a bad content? So firstly, when you promote a bad content, your cost per click, it's getting costlier, up to 100%. So you're paying double for your CPC than if you were promoting a good content. And this pretty much same thing happens with CPM, or cost per mile, because then you need to pay almost 20% more than if you would promoting good content. And this is my favorite one. And a really alarming one, bad content gets you 4 times more negative feedback. And when I say negative feedback, I mean people not writing bad things about you, but people ignoring your content, hiding it. So you are basically, by promoting a bad content, you are paying, you are buying yourself 4 times more negative feedback, and you are actually cutting yourself short of being able to reach those very same people next time with a good piece of content. And this is really not good. So also bad content gets 2.3 times fewer interactions with the same reach, and it's 7 times less viral. So now we're going back to the success and these 4 steps. What you should do to get it right and actually avoid all these alarming figures and stuff that I was mentioning. So the first one is the creation. So when we're creating a good content, you need to get inspired. And you should get inspired by looking what has worked for you good in the past, what has worked for the competition or even for the industry. And based on that, you can kind of predict what can work for you and create a content. So let's say that you have this great piece of content ready, and now you're deciding to post it. So as I said, it's crucial that you find what is the best time to post. And you need some sort of a prediction what time that is, because as we know, audience is not sitting there 24/7 waiting for you to post something and react on it. Or also the consumer behavior patterns change over the time, whether this is due to the competition, industry, can be various reasons. So that's why this is really crucial to find out what is the best timing when you can actually reach your audience, because you want to amplify your reach. Oh, sorry. Okay, and the third step is a promotion. So where brands are getting wrong, and really wrong, is that if you remember from the previous slide, those 25%, I think, who were promoting all content and they were promoting it straight away. So this is a big mistake. You should actually leave your content to breed organically. Leave it for 6 to 12 hours to see how it is going to perform, and if it's performing well, this is the piece of content that you want to put your money behind. And at the end of the cycle, you should be tracking your results. And you should be tracking your results on each step of the way. I don't know about you, but what we found out with big proportion of our clients is that getting the budgets for social, it's not always an easy task. Or said in the other words, demonstrating the value to the key stakeholders in the organization, who very often have nothing to do with the digital or social is a big challenge. And by checking those results, you can actually help yourself by being able to articulate this value of social to your key stakeholders. So, as you can see, we in Social Bakers are doing loads of studies, loads of analysis, because we always like to be a bit ahead of the time in terms of trends, and very often we are even setting up the standards of social. So another thing what we have actually noticed, because as you could see from so far, is that your job is actually getting more and more complex. Things are getting more and more complex. So definitely what we have noticed is this industry shift. And industry is moving from simple analysis, simple reporting. This is not enough anymore. What you need is actually some predictive recommendations, as I was mentioning. You need some actionable data. You need some actionable insights. So there is definitely move from analyzing the content to data-driven content marketing. Because why is it so? Because you need real-time decision-making. You need to know what to say, when to say it. You want to know what to invest in. You want to know what kind of impact social has on wider digital KPIs, and so on. And that's why our team in Social Bakers has been working really hard to bring to you deep data analysis and predictive technology, which will actually help you to get this whole content workflow right. And here you can see all these 4 steps that I've been speaking about. So what I would like you to take away with you from this session of mine is definitely be selective. And be selective when it comes to metrics you want to track. Track the metrics which make sense to your business. Be selective when you're choosing the platform that you want to be present at. Content is the currency of social, and please, 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 do not invest in bad, underperforming content. You saw on the slides that there is significant hidden cost behind it. So to avoid this, don't promote right away. Let the content breed organically, and also try to work much closer with your teams, because what we have found out also, there is kind of a gap between the teams which are working on content creation. Sometimes brands have the creative agencies who are doing this work for you, and very often the people at the brand don't even know what is the ad spend. And the industry shifts from passive analysis reporting to predictive analytics. So thank you for listening, for being here today. And now is the time when you can ask any questions you might have. And I would like to announce a colleague of mine who is here with me today, our sales director for CE and Turkey, Roberto Alvarez.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So I'll be taking all the questions. So is there any questions out there? Yep. We'll just wait for the mic. I just wanted a little bit of stage time, so hopefully it won't be difficult questions.
Hi, I wanted to ask you, you talked about bad content creating bad feedback. If the fan hides you and hides your page, have you measured how difficult is it to turn that fan around, to bring them back?
Well, go ahead.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we haven't done that direct measurement, but what we do for some of our clients is we kind of an advocacy check. So we'll look at the fans and we'll see, based on if they like a certain page and maybe it went to a different competitor or a different page, what triggered that content or what triggered that change. So we can start pinpointing it down to the exact content piece. And maybe by that you can start learning from that, let's say, bad content, that you can kind of leverage the audience in a different direction.
So you basically just, in a way, prevent it from happening again. That's the point.
Yes, well, I mean, that's what we're using with the predictive analytics. Correct.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
There's been a big shift in how Facebook treats games in the last couple of years. Social Bakers was very famous. I think it's even started with measuring how many likes or engagement was in games on Facebook. Yet, what can you tell us about how the marketing changed since Facebook removed, let's say, viral engines for promoting games and some kind of entertainment content within its platform? Do you have any data and can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, well, I can give you a little bit of background. So, Social Bakers started out, we were actually a gaming company and then also an agency after that, and now we're doing obviously the predictive analytics. So as far as measuring kind of the transformation of how games were on Facebook themselves, I don't believe we have too much of that data, but I think the reason that we were trying to kind of leverage away from that, and Facebook also did the change, is because that more and more apps were kind of being developed. So pretty much the landing pages for those games were really trying to push into the applications. But it would be interesting to kind of look at that data at this point.
Hi.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations when it comes to promoting content on the different social platforms? Which way to go?
As far as which platform, so it's really depending on the message, right? So if you're, obviously Facebook is one of the biggest ones that you're looking at, so you want to make sure that the contents there is really directed towards the audience that you have directly on that platform. And it's really about being kind of a good storyteller, but it's really being selective as to which platform you need to be a little bit more leveraging kind of like some of the KPIs. So if you're looking for more fans or so on, you have to have a constant check also in line with some of the business directives.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Close here. I have a question as well. Can you please tell us some recommendation if we want to boost our e-commerce website? So, which will be the most efficient and the proper way to use social media platforms for the e-commerce part?
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's a good question. I think usually when we're seeing a lot of the e-commerce pages are trying to push towards kind of the sales, it's using the promoted post. Maybe the fans and the advocates of the page look at it as kind of just paid media that's kind of just filling up their newsfeed. So I think what we've seen with some of them is they're using and leveraging Facebook Live or live videos to really make it a little bit more interacting, to kind of start generating a little bit more attention towards the actual page. It's really trying to address them in a different way than just kind of a very sales approach methodology.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, anything else? I think we're out of time. Yep. Thank you.